We're here. Welcome to CodeRushed. Rory is not with us right now, but my understanding is he'll be in. Oops, let me do this. That's going to maybe make a difference in terms of sound quality. Hold on a second. There we go. Rory, my take is that Rory's going to be in about 10 minutes, and so he'll be joining us a little late. That's all right. We'll bring him in when he gets here, and that's I think it. Let me do this. I'm going to check in some code, and we'll kind of get things started as well. I'm like a little bit sick today, so I am. Hold on a second. We're coming over here, loading up the overlay. I've made a few changes here. I added a test command, as was suggested last week by, I think it was Will Bennett, who was saying, hey, let's add a test command so we can just test all kinds of new things easily. That's one of the changes that I made. I also added a shorter version of the command for tossed, just the letter T. So that could save some time if you wanted to toss the meteors as your drone. What other changes have I made here? This looks like actually changes from last week is what it looks like. Maybe that I did not check in. Yeah, so that's this is the code from last week's show as well. So let's go ahead and we'll check this in. So, oh, and one more thing. Geez, I've been like slightly off here. We're on episode 44, or no, wait, 43. I have here for the description for today that we are going to be collecting and tracking coins. I'm going to change that to, we're going to do that later. I'm postponing that. We're going to do building lightsaber walls is what we're doing. And I expect this to go let me update the stream on that. So I've just updated the stream description on that. I expect the lightsaber walls to go for about at least 3 days, I think. So we'll get on that. Some of the other changes I made since the end of episode 42 is I dropped the size of the coins and I reduced the frame rate for them. We were running into a new resource issue with regards to number of images loaded up for our animations. And so to be a little more leaner and more conservative, we've done that. The size doesn't matter on these. That's not what impacts resource usage. It is the number of frames, the frame rate. That's what it seems to be. That seems to be the strongest influencer of resource usage. So let's go through this. This is let's look at the other changes that we've made over here. So we've reduced the size of the coin, spinning coin, and its frame rate. We have, there's also added resources and code for the lightsaber walls, which I have been essentially dreaming about for 4 days. I went on vacation over the weekend and with my family, and so no coding at all. And during that time, I was like totally had vivid pictures in my mind of the lightsaber walls. And let me show you what I'm talking about here. It's going to look something like this right here. I'll zoom in a little bit. What I want to have happen. So I'm envisioning vividly these colors, this imagery, and what's going to happen is these bronze or copper kind of balls. These are going to, hold on one second. Roy says he's here. Let me give him a call. We'll bring him in. Hey, Rory, how you doing, buddy?
Not too bad, man. Can you hear me good?
Well, I can hear you. Let us know in the in the chat room if that's the case as well. Let me share my sounds with you and my screens with you. Oh no, it's not letting me share the screen I want to share. Skype is sad for me today. It's only given me one choice. That makes me sad. I'm going to hang up on you and try restarting Skype and see if it gets a little bit, if it likes it a little bit better. Okay, let's see what happens. Yeah, quit Skype. Try one more time. I have a feeling this won't work because I feel like I just started up. And let's give Rory a call.
Hello.
Share screen. Now I've got some choices. Excellent. And the sound. And here we go, Rory. Can you see my screen? Should be a second.
I can indeed.
Awesome.
Ooh, isn't that shiny?
Yeah, it's shiny. I was just telling everyone that I've been thinking about this for about 4 days now. And these are walls. These are like walls. And so one of the things that we have the ability to toss the meteors, right? To specify a velocity in an upward or down direction as well as a velocity in a left or right direction. And the meteors will go. But I wanted to be able to say drones can only go in some spaces and meteors can go in others. And so my idea is this: if it's solid like these walls, nothing can go through it. If you throw a meteor at it or if you try to fly into it, you'll explode. And I'm going to make it forgiving so that if you hit it, you'll bounce back a little bit. But if you really keep going, it's going to take you out.
Sounds good.
I have a couple ideas on that. Now, if it's dashed like the one above, the meteor can go through it, but your drone cannot. And so that's kind of that's functionally what I want to do. But what's been so cool to me, what I've been thinking about for the last 4 days while I've been on vacation, not able to code, is I've been thinking about how these are going to appear on screen. And what I'm going to do is we're going to, Forever Jamin is now following. Thanks, Forever Jamin, for that. Looks like we've got a raid from C# Fritz over there. Thank you, C# Fritz. By the way, looking forward, Fritz, Jeff, to see you in San Jose, California at TwitchCon in a couple days. So looking forward to that.
Nice.
This is what we're going to build this week. We're going to build these walls that are going to appear on screen and restrict our flying drones. I feel like every show we have to go in and say, oh, here's what we've got going. Here's what's happening here. And here's what we're doing. And it takes longer and longer and longer every show to say, almost to the point, Rory, that I want to say, you know what I want to do is I want to have a last week on CodeRushed. One of those quick trailers summarizing what happened.
It's almost as if there's more and more stuff that we've achieved in our backlog. If we look back at our history, as if there's more and more that we've achieved, so it takes longer to reference it all.
Yeah. That's it's almost as if we're moving forward through time. It's so anyway. So just want to say thanks to everybody who's come over from C# Fritz's streams. Roy, can you give everybody a quick summary of what we're doing here? TypeScript jobs.
Summary.
Go ahead.
Wow. Okay, so we started with nothing. We started with absolutely no knowledge of any kind whatsoever, apart from how to make a little bit of JavaScript here and there. And we quickly decided to start developing a game, which then transitioned into some on-screen interactivity for our chat room. So what we have here is the ability to launch a rocket, which will then allow you to drop drones. Those drones can drop paint splats all over the place. They can draw effectively on the screen, interact with the stream itself. And basically, it's all manner of little things to try and make it more interactive for those participating from the chat room there. We want you guys to feel like part of the stream in a much more cohesive manner. So what will happen is that, I don't know that at the moment it's kind of all free for all, okay? So if you want to launch a drone, you can do this. If you want to move it left or right, you can do that. Not any huge barriers to you doing any of that. But there were talk earlier of, the more shows you watch or the more contributions you make in the chat room, maybe there'd be this leveling up associated with your existence there, and therefore maybe you would earn the right to do this later on. So we haven't really ironed out exactly how that will work. But for the moment, it's all all just about increasing the interactivity that can happen. We've got, I mean, you can see Mark there. He's flying around the CodeRushed drone, dropping a couple of paint splats, which we've done a little bit of optimization here. You can see them fading away as well, because over time, things tend to mount up with a lot of people in the chat room. If you have a look at the chat room there, you can see a lot of the commands that are being issued. So bang drone will get you your own drone. Okay, you can then start flying it around with bang R, left, U and D, obviously the initial letters of a direction, followed by a kind of a thrust quantitative. Okay, bang followed by a color will drop you a splat onto the screen at the current location of your drone. So everybody in there can launch and maintain and control their own drone. How's that, Mark?
That was awesome. That's what we're doing. So we're essentially building like this kind of really fun, interactive kind of gaming engine so that you can essentially live game during the stream. We have coins out here. Right now, our coins can only be collected by our rocket, which is controlled with right, left commands. Here, let's go down here. We'll show you some collecting of coins here, and you can follow up a command with a time, so that sort of thing. So you can see the coin count showing up at the top of the screen here. Let me get my mouse in the right monitor, right up over here, and so that's kind of what we've built. So that's what we've done. What we're going to do, here's the mock-up right here, is we're gonna build these walls. And the thing I didn't finish saying, Rory, is I want these walls to be able to, the way they're going to appear is this ball is going to be thrown up. And just as it gets to the apex of the throw, right, just the very top, and it's slowing down, it's going to go and open up either horizontally or vertically. And as it opens up, we're going to see this animated laser extending out through it. It's going to be gorgeous, I think. It's going to be so beautiful. So I'm totally looking forward to that, to getting there.
So not only are we going to be interacting with the drones, the paint, the seeds, the meteors, all this sort of stuff, we're actually going to be forming our own play area by launching walls and physically creating them.
Well, I think what we're really going to do, hold on one second here. I think what we're really going to do is we're going to use, I think the play area is going to be preformed. And it's going to be using these kinds of a text layout right here. So this right here, this is how we're doing the outline chat room. Everywhere there's an asterisk, there's a coin. And so that's what starts up here that puts all of these coins around the chat room right here and then down here as well, right in this area. So so that's outlining the chat room right there. And then I want to be able to add the walls here by doing something like this. And I want it to be able to say, oh, there's 3 of these in a row. That means you want a vertical wall here. So I want to be able to visually lay out the walls and in text in some way. Now there's nothing that stops us from having these be separate files, except for maybe a little bit of coding. And there's nothing that stops folks out there from contributing as well. But that's kind of the layout. I wasn't actually anticipating that we would go build it by dropping the pieces, but we could. We absolutely could. There's nothing that stops you from having a command, like notice SQL Mr. Magoo flying around in the upper right of the screen right here. Nothing that stops us from adding a command that's like drop wall or wall, and then specifying whether it's horizontal, it's dashed, and what the size is. So there's the center point, and the distance would be determined by the commands you pass in. So we could actually interactively build it too. But and the other thing we didn't show yet is we have the ability to catch falling meteors. Here, let me move. Let me go over to. Hold on one second here. Let's go move up for about 3 seconds, and let's drop a meteor. Let's move over to the left by about 0.6 seconds. Oops, wrong command. Let's try that again, left. And yeah, get underneath me if you want a meteor dropped onto you and you want to catch it here. I'm going to move left 0.5 seconds, and then I'm going to drop. Here comes, oh, it looks like T. Speroni already caught it right underneath me. So let's go down by about 0.5 and drop another one. And now for folks who have one of these, you can now throw your meteor and now the T command should work in addition to toss. So bang T.
Okay. Do we have directional and distance?
Yeah, so it's bang T space. and then your left value and then your right value. So it's going to be.
Okay.
Did we do this when you were gone, Rory?
I think maybe the actual controls were definitely established whilst I wasn't
All
here.
right. So do this.
So this is interesting.
So type in bang toss or bang T.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Oh, it looks like the bang T is not working because T-Sprony looks like they did it and I didn't see anything happen there. So try bang toss. It's weird that it's not working. And then like do a -5, 5 like that, like what I just typed in. And there you just did it. And whoa, right there. Yeah. Oh no. Oh, come on, people. Trying to do a show here.
Good shot.
Yeah, nice shot. So it looks like so the toss is working, but maybe the T is not. Let me try dropping a couple more here and see if the T command works. SQL Mr. Magoo. See if you can type in bang T and then some number there. And I'm going to actually drop another one. Did that work for SQL? Yes, it did. So bang T did work. Oh, I know what happened. Filizolina, you need a comma between the 1 and the 2. That's why that 1 space 2. I'm just looking back up in the chat history.
Okay.
And it was a bang T with a, here, I'll bring it over here so we can see it. It's a bang, we needed a comma right between these two. That's why the tosses weren't working. Okay. So anyway, that's kind of it. So now what we want to do is we want to throw things up is what we want to do. And it looks like I was thinking I was somewhere else. All right, so let's actually check in the code. So we're going to kind of get back to where I was here. We're checking in the code. I'm just reviewing my changes before the check-in here to see what I've got out here. Added the test command. We did that. That was per suggestion. We added the toss command. And what else is of interest here? Were we catching, Rory, before?
We were, yeah.
Okay.
Catching is very cool because it allows you to attach the meteor, as it were, to an alternate sprite, effectively, and then when that sprite moves around, the two carry together. Very nice.
Yeah, and also, the other thing we did is we adjusted the position. So if you're flying up on the drone, it just sits a little bit better, or flying down, it just moves itself just a little bit. So we cleaned up and removed old or lesser used animations to make room for the new stuff is what we did. And that's essentially what we did. So let's do a stage all over here on this. Let's push changes immediately. Let's commit. And we are now at episode 43, begin. And so let's tag it. EP-43-begin. There's our tag. Put that out. Let's, while that goes up there, let's bring up GitHub and take a look at this over here. Here's the source code that we're starting with right now. It's episode 43 begin, that one right there. I'm going to put a link to that out in the chat room. There's the link, and that's the source code. That's how we're starting. One note for folks who are new here is not every resource is in here. The resources I have licensed, and they're licensed for me to build things and distribute the built piece, but they're not licensed for me to go check them into source control. So
hypothetically, Mark, is it possible for somebody else to go get a license? Have we got a link to where those are actually originating from?
not really, and the reason why is because the pieces here are actually they're composites of multiple licenses,
Okay.
and or they're shrunk down to a certain size, and or you know, the angles, that sort of thing. So like for the drone, for example, I have 15 different angles for it. So 5 different for going up, 5 different for being flat, and 5 different for going down. And then those 5 are like either angled steeply to the right, angled slightly to the right, level, and then the opposite.
So
over
is
there.
the original resource something that you've taken derivative artwork from,
Right,
essentially?
all over the place. This is essentially
Yeah.
the case, right? So you could reproduce it, but the steps to reproduce it aren't documented anywhere, and it's not
Okay.
entirely clear. So you could kind of reverse engineer it by finding these pieces out there. I did use Envato elements for a lot of these, which is not bad. It's like a $30 or $15 a month subscription, and gives you access to a lot of elements. And I created a lot of the artwork here from those. The other piece, though, for the walls that we've got that we're about to use, let me bring up the walls here so you can see those. Let's see here. One second. All right, so these are my drones in my assets. I've got my firewall, and I've got my Saber. I've got my different tests here, these AVIs. I basically did these mock-ups here and created these AVIs. And from the AVI, so here, let's go ahead and we'll open this up. And hold on a second. Got it maximized on another window. Trying to quickly move it over. Here we go. All right, so we'll play this right here. So this is what it looks like. It's going to look like that. And so what I did is I created this. And to create this, I used After Effects plus the, I think it's the Lightsaber add-in from Video Pilot is what I think is the name of the company. So, so I used that to, and it's an excellent add-in, and I used that to create a horizontal and a vertical version of this. And then there's also, let's see, there's also, where is that? Is this on top? Is that why I can't see it? Well, that's a stay on top. Okay, interesting. And then I did a dashed one too, but then I changed it to blue, and I made a whole bunch of these. Looks like I don't have any AVIs to show you, but it's the for the dashed lines. I'll show you the artwork. It goes in two different directions.
It's a really nice effect either way.
Yeah, here's the artwork right here, and so you can see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we've got. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to crop it. So this is the first time we'll ever be cropping an image live, right? Well, in our game. So we're going to have to learn how to crop as it comes out. We're going to have to do some physics to get the ball in the right position. We're going to need some sound effects. I don't have that yet, but you know, that's kind of what it's like. It's going to be thrown up and then come out. That's what I want it to do. So that
sounds awesome.
That's kind of where we are. Yeah, I've been like so excited, and there we go. One other thing is I also have these end caps. And I have 4 of them here, and here they are right here. Let's see. Let me bring this out. Let's see if I can bring it out over there. There we go. So right there is the preview right there, and so I have 4 of these. I have a left and a right, and I have a bottom and a top. And those are going to, so the ball's going to come out as one piece and then break apart, and the lightsaber will be between the ball, and it's going to go to its desired position. It's going to be super cool when we're done, but now we're just starting it, so we'll figure all that out, and let's do that. Okay. So I have to load these assets up right here, and I haven't done this yet, the end caps. So let's create, let's go into the code, and we'll do that. And by the way, I'm not sure if we said this or not, but we're working in TypeScript mainly is what we're doing. So mainly working in TypeScript here. All right, so let's see. Here we go. And I'm also using CodeRushed, and CodeRushed has this really cool feature called embedded images that allows me to put an embedded image in the source code, so I can put a picture of the mock-up that I want to work with right here in the code. Like that. Rory, can you dock the rocket just so I get it a little quieter in my ears?
I gotta say, I love the images in the code because it gives you a wonderful reference for what it is you're working on. I mean, in this particular case, you've got a horizontal element there, and actually, if you were to use that next to the piece of code that was dealing with horizontal, it would be this very obvious thing that you were primarily dealing with the X coordinate, perhaps. And, you know, likewise, if there was a vertical component, you know, at the end of one line, it would sort of give that same hint about the Y coordinate being more important. And it's very easy to sort of interchange those two in your head occasionally, but with a visual cue there, it sort of keeps the mind focused on what you're doing.
Yeah. No, it is. I'm like, whoops, hold on a second. I've got it. I just realized I have it on overwrite. Yeah, so I'm actually just using these images kind of markers here to visually help me get to the right place here where I want to be. So
you have to focus a hell of a lot less on the text of the document you're scrolling rapidly through, because you know you're looking for a particularly pictorial example of where you're going.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to create a new variable called end caps. That's going to be of type sprites. And I guess I'll put it right here for now. And that's of type, I think we have a TSPS shortcut to get us to the word sprites. And there's our end caps. And so that's going to be firewall. The sprites loads up. Let's do this. I think we can still make this work, but we're going to have to rename some files. Sprites is looking, the way it loads is it loads based on an expected base name and then expecting to see, here, let's do this. Let's open in File Explorer and let's rename these is what we're going to do. So bottom, left, right, top. Is that what I want to do is the order of these? Which is the order I want to have here? I think I want to have left be first. So I'm going to call this cap 1 or cap 0. And then cap 1 is going to be right, like that. And then top is going to be cap 2. And bottom is going to be cap 3. Mm-hmm. And so that's what that's what we've got here. So left, right, top, bottom. That's the order there. And so now that I've got these like this, I can come in here and say, well, that's in a firewall / end caps. Whoops, not here. Right here. End caps / cap. Like that.
Yep, so that becomes your base name.
Yep.
And then I'm guessing that 15 then becomes a 4 or possibly 3, depending. Is it 0 through or?
This is the 15 is our frame interval. So frame interval here doesn't matter. The animation style is going to be static, which means once we set it to one of those frames, it never moves from it. So sprites is kind of this multi-purpose collection of images. We're using it for animation in most cases, but we're also, in this case, we're using it just to hold some static images that we might want to draw all over the place. So we don't have to keep loading images up, right? So one of the values that sprites brings to the table is reduces the amount of resources we need in total. It just is redrawing the same image in different places, which is beautiful. The expected frame count here, this is going to be 4. Right here. Mm-hmm. This question right here is, are we going to, this we don't need. That's takes more time to explain than the value is there. So I'm going to not explain that right now. Okay, so there's end caps. We've now loaded our end caps. We've got our test function. And I think what I want to do in our test function, let's see, where is that test function here? Let's see if we can find it. Test is here. This is what's called out. And so what I want to do here is I maybe want to say endcaps.add. No, endcaps.sprites.add. Right? .push. So sprites is an array, and I'm going to say new sprite proxy. And the starting frame number, I'm just going to say 0 for left. This is going to be the left one. The X, I'm going to put at 900, or let's do 800. So it's about the middle of the screen here. So we're at what, 1080? We're at 1920, so that's roughly the middle of the screen. Yep. And by 1080, so we're about 500. And I think that's all we need to do for now. Actually, there was another one, which is our lifespan. Let's see if that works. We'll say 3,000, so 3 seconds. So what this should do is, oops, I need another
bracket. Yeah.
Yep. And I also need to draw the end caps as well, because we're not drawing those yet. So I need to go into my draw function. Let's go find that. And I need that in oh, it's update screen. Sorry. That's what we want, update screen. Like that. Okay. Now we need to draw the end caps, and those are going to be kind of, I think the walls are going to be on top of everything except for maybe the explosions. So we're going to say endcaps.draw, like that, my context. So if we do that, and if we do just that, and we run it, we refresh. So I'm going to switch to another screen to refresh the overlay. I think there's a shot that once it reloads, that we give it the test command, that you're going to see the left side of that ball appear around the middle of the screen.
That'd be good.
Yeah, good is good. Okay, it's loading up and it's loaded, so let's try that. Let's see if test works. Clearly, it failed spectacularly. So let's do this. Let's go run over to the running version of this on my local machine here and refresh it. So I'm going to bring that up so you can see it. I'm going to switch over away so we don't have one overlay on top of something that looks like the overlay as well. We're going to refresh this as well. And let's set a breakpoint in the code down in our test command down here. And let's take a look at that. We're going to come in and wait, well, let me just double check this. Endcaps.draw. Endcaps is in load walls. Is load walls called? This is the problem. Load walls isn't called. So I found that actually without debugging it. So let's load that up. And we'll put it like right here. So we'll do that. Let's move this off screen. Let's do another test. We're going to reload our overlay. Here it comes. Let's do another test. Oh, nice. We got a breakpoint. Let's clear our breakpoint and just hit run and see if we get it. I didn't see anything. Let me try one more time. Not seeing anything. Okay, so the breakpoint is hit.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on here? There's my end cap. I guess we go back to the breakpoint and let's explore it. So set that breakpoint there. There's the breakpoint. Let's do another test. And why am I not at the breakpoint this time is my question. I don't understand that. I was there once. Huh. That's really weird.
Is there any reason why you'd need to switch angle again, come back?
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me that it would hit it once but not the other. Let me try this. Refreshing. I just refreshed the one, but not in, not the overlay. Not hitting my breakpoint. Let's refresh the overlay and see if that makes a difference. I don't think that's going to make a difference either. It's as if it doesn't make sense. It's like a state bug, but there's nothing that I can think of that would impact the state. Okay. Well, that's not working like I wanted to. Let's double check it. There's my frame number, X and Y. Those are all good. And my lifespan. I could do no lifespan, see if that makes any difference.
But you were still not actually hitting the breakpoint though, so...
Yeah, well, I'm not entirely sure that I'm living in that world, actually. If we come in here, we're looking to see if the command is test command. It seems like test command is being sent out. We did hit it once. Let me do this. Actually, let's do this. Let's verify. Let's at least set a breakpoint inside the command handler. This is what we should do. So let's go in here. Set a breakpoint in here, which I'm still thinking we're not going to get, but let's see if we can get here. I think it's a problem with debugging. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I'm proven wrong in that second. So let's see what the command is.
So what's the actual...
Command is test command. So is it just going to work now for some unexplained reason? Let's set a breakpoint here and a set breakpoint here and run it. Yeah, we're getting into here. Yeah. Let's step inside. We're here.
Well, what do you know?
But what's interesting is we're here, but nothing's happening. And I think that could be because the last time we ran, we had no code in here. And so it's simply running no code is what I think is happening.
Yeah. So what, caching by the browser?
Yeah, is what I think. And so even refreshing, I think, is not necessarily helping us here. So,
is there any facility to disable the cache in Chrome?
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's an empty cache and hard reload, which could do it, but I don't necessarily think that's going to solve this problem. But let's see what happens if I type in test now. Yeah, still nothing. So we're getting nothing in there. Let's see if we can set a breakpoint and get to it. Can we break here or there? I think, yeah, nothing's happening because I think what I'm looking at, one last test, and then we're going to do something a little more aggressive. Oh, wait, I think we're reloading here. This looks like it's reloading.
Interesting, yeah.
I'm about to be really aggressive on this, is what I'm about to do.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. It's loaded. Okay, hold on.
Oh.
One more time. One last time. Okay, there we go.
Hey, there we
All
go.
right. So there's our now call to push. We're pushing the new sprite proxy out. This code is pretty well tested and working all over the place. So I don't see any reason why this wouldn't work. Let's set a breakpoint next here on the draw function and see what happens. Let's run it. Whoops. Let's keep running it. Whoops. Where's my breakpoint? There we go. Now let's go in here and look at what we've got. It doesn't move. We're advancing the frame. How many sprites? We've got one sprite. Oh, I just hit F10 on it. And F10 on a 4 each just skips over the whole thing, doesn't go into it. So let's set a breakpoint here. Run. Now I just ran it and we continued. So we've got, let's do this. Are we getting to this line of code? And what do you want to bet that sprite X 1376?
That's pretty high, isn't it?
Yeah.
Weren't we looking at sort of 800 by 500?
Yeah, it's weird that this has jumped over that far. Wait. Oh, you know what? It's not. We're not where we think we are. This is being called for all kinds of things, not just the one that we're on.
That's true.
So
Yes,
let's just.
This is a derivatives of any sprite.
Yeah.
Essentially.
So I could do this right now, set a breakpoint here, come back to where I was, and now set a breakpoint here and run it. And now we're in the right one. Now if we come over, there's my 800. There's my 500.
So good values at least.
Yeah, this is all looking like it should absolutely be working. Let's run it. And let's do one other thing because we haven't checked the console for errors. Let's go back over. Oh, look, kids, it is working. The code was right all along. It's just that I think we had a cache-related issue. That means we have a cache-related issue over here in my overlay as well. So let's go close this down. Let's come back over to the overlay. I'm going to bring up the properties for it. And I think there's an option, refresh cache of current page. Click that, and then click OK. And, and now I think it's going to reload itself. And now I think the test is going to work. So sometimes we live in that world. Hold on, it's still loading up. Yeah, sometimes we live in that world, Rory, I think, where we're like, is what we're seeing, should it be believed or not?
Absolutely. There's what the world shows us, and then there's the underpinnings underneath that, and it's like, hang on a second.
Right. It's like one of like my favorite first lessons of coding that I recall is that, wait, the error message is wrong. Right? Yeah. So the error message just sends you off in a particular direction looking for it. Okay, the load is complete. There's the test. Nice. There it is. Right up there. So you can see that. Rory, you can see it.
It's good.
Yeah.
I can.
You can see it in the stream? Excellent.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Good. All right. So
all those early things you learn. Trust nothing. Test everything.
Yes. It's one of my favorite things, favorite lessons, right, to be learned, right? And I teach my kids this too, right? They say something, I'm like, what's your source?
Critical thinking, right? Something that is taught far, far less than it needs to be.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So that's not bad. That's excellent, actually. Let's get a little bit smarter now in what we're doing. Okay. Sure. So here's our test command. We're creating a new sprite proxy. What I want to do instead is I want to create a descendant of a sprite proxy, and we've already done that with our drone. Our drone is a descendant that adds things like the meteor it's carrying, the display name. That's how we can know what to draw underneath the drone.
The sprite proxy basically carries with it the basic information necessary to locate itself and sort of move around perhaps to a small extent. Whereas the derivatives add sort of behavioral logic or at least information about the thing that is represented by this specific sprite proxy. So the drone, of course, needs to be able to know where it's going, how it's tilting, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But other descendants don't need that kind of information. So a wall or an end piece, they're going to need to know certain different things. In fact, we've collectively used, what was it, the paint splats. So we deployed a splat, but it then loaded several, I think it had a small, a medium, and a large drip that was kind of fundamentally part of it, and it sort of understood how to instruct the rest of that stuff to work. I'm guessing you're going to go ahead here and have 2 endpoints and the actual wall within one. Is that what you're heading for?
That's exactly where I'm going, Rory.
There we go.
The one
I've been paying attention.
You've been paying attention. All right, so let's do that. I'm going to create a new class in here, and when I do this, I gotta be aggressive. You know, I was talking about being aggressive. I've got to shut down every instance of Chrome for the step I'm about to do in order to get this whole thing to build. So it's a little, this is something we've learned along the way when we're building these overlays for our Twitch streams. So, but I want to, it's important for me to do this. So let's go in and we're going to go to our TS files right here. And do I have I was looking for a paint splat. It looks like I don't have a paint splat. The drone is a descendant, but I thought,
sprites.
I don't think that's a descendant of the sprites collection. What it does is it creates these right here. But later on, let's go find some long drips here where they're used. Yeah, we're just creating straight on sprite proxies. So for the sprites, we don't do that. The sprite proxy, I'm sorry, the images for the splats, we don't do that. But I want to see if I can find, I thought we had, was it Meteor? Meteor was one that extends sprite proxy. That's what we had there. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it back in to create that duplicate. And it seemed to take a really long time to do that. And we're going to call this wall. Can I rename it? I guess I have to right click to rename. I can't rename because I'm running. All right, that's okay. We're going to be aggressive and kill everything anyway. So we'll close this down. Let's see here. Let's bring a PowerShell, and we're going to kill all the Chrome instances, which we've done. Bringing back up the Twitch stream here, so I've got my monitor on the stream, and I can see the chat room. And now let's see if we right-click and rename. There we go. And we're going to call this wall. Like that. And I need to, let's give it a good name. Come on. It's just a file rename. I often like to drink when you're talking, Rory, because I have this anxiety about not allowing any kind of radio silence to occur.
Well,
all right.
Yeah. Now, this is a stream. We're here to sort of explain what we're doing as we go, and yeah, that seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
So we're going to make a wall here. I'm assuming that you're going to have some kind of, is this a vertical wall? Is this a horizontal wall? Are we going to separately track the current positions of our 2 end caps?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't quite figured all of this out yet. But the end caps are going to be sprite proxies, is what I think they're going to be. I think there's going to be, essentially, we have 3 sprite proxy references here, I think. We have, I'm sorry, we have 2. Since we're descending, we're extending and descending from sprite proxy. The wall is going to be maybe the center one, and then we'll add 2 additional sprite proxies for the end caps. So I think it's going to look like this: end cap 1. Like that, and end cap 2 like that is what I think it's going to look like. And so they'll be either left or right or up or down depending on the orientation. I also need an orientation, and to do an orientation I'm going to need an enum as well. So we'll call this orientation like that, and it's going to be horizontal, and it's going to also be vertical. And then I also want another enum, which is the kind of wall, I guess, wall kind.
Okay. Oh, because that's the permeable versus, solid.
Yes, exactly. And so we have a solid or permeable. I like that. Permeable. I think I've got that spelled correctly. So there's our wall type. That means we want to have, we need a something of this particular type as well. The wall The lifespan, I'm not sure if the walls are going to have a lifespan. I think walls, once they're up, are up until they're manually removed, is what I think.
Fair enough. Yep.
So we're going to say -1 for the lifespan, which means it lives forever. And let's add the other pieces right in here. We need to have the orientation and the wall type. Let's bring these down the next line so we can kind of see all these there.
Yeah.
All right, so there's the orientation and wall type. Actually, what I can do now is I can come in here and say public on both of these. And this is now going to give me public properties for both of those.
Yeah, so we've learned actually through our exploration of, I'm not sure, I think this was TypeScript rather than JavaScript, wasn't it? Effectively, there are fields now created to represent those and properties constructed around them for the setting and getting of them,
Yeah.
without the need for all that extra ceremony of writing those things. So it keeps the code a little clearer, a little less to actually physically read.
Yep.
The downside slightly being that you can't just go and look at a definitive list of fields at the top. You have to analyze the construct just slightly as well. But it's an interesting trade-off.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to say if orientation equals orientation with an uppercase dot horizontal, then we need to create endcap1 and endcap2 is what we need to do. And then we need to, and we'll add those in a second. But we're going to say endcap1 is equal to, oh, and by the way, when the walls are taken away, the end caps will close up over them
Tracked along the
and then just fall. We'll just, and maybe give them a little bit of upward and right or left velocity where it just kind of goes, boom, and drops off the screen. So they're going to come up off the bottom of the screen and land. That's kind of the idea. So
So this would be interesting. This would be one of the sprite proxies where for the first time it will start off perhaps with no movability. Or indeed have some in order to get into position, then we'll turn that off because they'll statically stay in place. And then when you choose to shut them down, they'll suffer the effect of gravity again.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've got a lot of code already set up to support that. So it's I'm pretty excited about that. All right, so we're going to create a new sprite proxy right here. The starting one,
I don't know if it's happening for anybody else. I'm hearing a lot of, I don't know what you might call static from your end. Not so much on the line, but maybe are you tapping some of the microphone or a cable that's loose somewhere?
Okay, let me try this. Could have been it was just a little bit too close. Let's bend this out just a little bit and see. Is that any better? Or was
Still
it?
Sounds good. It's intermittent, so it might just be as we continue, we just see a reduction in that. That should be good.
All right,
certainly we can still hear you good.
Let us know in the chat room if you're hearing any kind of sound-related issues. I did have an accident with this mic where I hit the cord and I felt resistance, and I realized that it dropped all the way down the floor, and this part was under my foot. I reassembled it, and the sound was good. Sometimes now that you moved it, so was it hearing it sounding like maybe my beard was kind of scraping against
Possibly,
it?
yeah. Maybe just. I mean, it was almost as if you had a finger periodically tapping it, but obviously from the visual that wasn't happening. So
okay,
yeah,
all right.
Could have been. Good now, anyway.
All right, good. Well, let me know if it comes back because we want to have nothing but the best for everybody out there. Okay, so now we're going to pass in X and Y here for this, and actually we'll probably, by the way, we need to add this to, we've got that end caps. I think we've got that thing called end caps out there. There it is right there. That has got something called sprite width in it, so we know how wide it is. And so if I do a constructor now for the wall, my take on this is it's going to give it I think it's going to give it, let's see, hold on a second. Do we have I want to see what's in in Sprite Proxy itself. What's happening in there? Let's go look at Sprite Proxy. Looking for the draw. There's draw adornments in here. Where is there a draw is what I'm looking for.
So I don't know if Sprite Proxy is actually the thing that draws, because bear in mind that there is no mechanic for...
Right. You're
This is
right.
this is the meta information about the sprite. That's why sprite proxy rather than sprite. Yeah.
Yep, you're right. All right, so let's do this. Let's go find draw adornments and see where that's called, because that's real close to where this is being drawn. Here's okay. It's kind of the problem is the x position. It's this x and this y are the upper left of the wall, is what these are. So
Yeah.
so that upper left is we're gonna have to adjust that as the piece expands, and we're gonna have to
Mhm.
do everything kind of relative to that as well. I think so. Over here in my wall, see this should be this dot ncap1 is equal to new sprite proxy, and I'm gonna say minus x minus sprite width, and that's going to be that one, and ncap2 is going to be, and this is the index. Remember, the first one was left and the second one was right, so that's
right.
going to be the right one, and this is going to be just hold on, that's divided by 2, and this I think is just x, like that. And
Okay.
this is not, I think, final code, but it is
Certainly brings the two endcaps to some distance from
Yeah.
each other, so we should be able to see that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm guessing the other one, we're going to reassign endcap 1 and 2, this time with sprites frames 2 and 3,
yeah,
which represent the top and bottom in this particular case.
Exactly.
And that means we're going to have to deal with sprite height instead of sprite width, sorry.
yeah. And so let's do that. And so we're here. And we're playing with this for now is what we're doing. And so that should get the balls like on top of each other. Then we need to override draw adornments is what we need to do. Can I get some help here? Maybe not. Okay, so let's call super dot draw adornments, and let's just drill into that to go copy that declaration piece and paste it up here. Okay, and so there's my draw adornments on here. Now in draw adornments, what I want to do is I want to say, well, actually we don't need, I was going to draw the end caps here, but we we don't need to do that because those are all already going to be drawn for us. We just need to move them over time is what we need to do.
Okay, yeah.
Hold on a second. I think I understand.
Because we will have added the walls to the right collections for their information to be fed upon and then drawn. So yeah.
And we need to do that here. So we're going to say end caps dot I guess it's sprites dot push. I'm feeling the need to replace this with just an add command on end caps, but we'll do this and we'll do this right here, like that. And
so conditional construction of endcap 1 and 2, but then regardless of which variation we have, we pop them into the right list.
Yeah. And let's see what else. So there's our wall. And what else? We need, the thing is we need to, over where we're drawing, hold on one second. Here's the draw command. And we're calling draw by index on it, is what we're doing, passing all of this sprite stuff to it. Okay?
Yep.
Instead of that, I'm going to change this because we need to be able to we need to be able to control the cropping of this. And so instead I'm going to do this, is I'm going to say sprite.draw, I think, and pass in base animation and context. And now as well. That's what I think I'm going to do. And then let's declare this. And go drill it down into that. And paste this code and tweak it out a little bit here.
So the only thing here is that this is the first time that the sprite proxy has had a draw method.
It is. You're disturbed by this, is that right?
It's just different to what we've done before. So whilst that isn't inherently bad, I've got to ask, why have we decided that it was entirely meta in the past versus now when this is less so?
because I need to draw in a special way? No, I think this is an
Fair
excellent.
enough.
It's an excellent question. I'm not sure. Fair enough is necessarily the right response to this. But
Well, we can see where it takes us. I mean, first of all, I mean, it's got to be useful. So, we'll judge that logic and then see. We can get something working and then decide, okay, do we want to keep it working this way or do we need to move it someplace else because it's feel better kind of thing?
yeah, the base animation is, I think, called apart, is what I think it is. I think that's draw by indexes inside of that. Yeah. Yeah. So the problem is basically, for me, I feel the biggest problem there is bringing this piece in right here. The other way we can do this is we can come back over into sprites. We can undo this change right here. That's the undo right there. Like that. And then we can just ask a question of the sprite. Are you cropped? And then draw it a different way. That's the other way. And that's actually more consistent with what we've been talking about. And Roy, as soon as I did this, I was suppressing essentially your thoughts in my head. I was like, yeah, it's not great, but it works. Right. And I think that it's kind of what's interesting on this is, hey, maybe it's a good idea whenever we think it's not great, but it works to go backwards and make it closer to great. So,
because the other place that we did this before was because you've got your sprite proxy derivatives, which are derivatives adding more meta information that is then available for any kind of draw mechanic to use, or perhaps to underpin an existing calculation in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
The one place where we've changed it, and we had a composite set of things. We didn't derive a new sprite proxy. We derived a new sprites, didn't we?
Yeah.
For the splats.
For the splats, we derived new sprites descendants, and for the drone, we derived a new sprite proxy. Is what we did. Yeah.
Okay.
But the splats, all it did though is because we can, and because the splats weren't moving, we didn't need to track them. We just basically said, let's throw it over here. The meteor was moving. Because the meteor is moving, I think it made sense to create a descendant of it so it had its owner as well. So let's see if is that owner property though used anywhere? Let's go back to the meteor and.
Well, it's just that it feels like that the sprites derivative is where we've previously used multi sets of sprites together to form an effect. So we had a splat and we had a drip, and we needed the two to be specifically held together.
Right.
So here you've got a similar effect. You've got a left cap and an end cap or right cap, and possibly obviously the wall in between. So maybe that's a similar kind of construct.
Well, it seems like on the surface, but the reason that we put the splats with the sprites descendant is because we have like 12 or 13 different drips of different colors. So I've got 12 or 13 long drips of different colors, 12 or 13 medium drips, and short drips.
Fact that then associates through those drips as well.
Yeah, the association here is what was really, really important, because what happens is if we come in and look at these, I'm just using CodeRush's tab to next reference feature here. We go through these. You see what's happening here is we're in the drop paint command here, or function that's going to put a paint splat out there. There's the splat sprites.push call right there. And then it's going to go to the splats and grab its short drips and put a new sprite proxy out for that as well, or the medium drips, that sort of thing, or the long drips. So that's simply, that descendant there was used for a different purpose than what I think we're using this for, because we're not going to have a bunch of different colored lights. We're just going to have two different orientations of lights, is essentially of the lightsaber. So I think we're kind of still okay with what we're doing. What we really want to do though is in sprite proxy, I think we want to have something that says, hey, cropped, and then the cropping information is going to be stored here. I think. So I think we're going to have a property called cropped, and then if we're cropped, we're going to hold some data. Or hold on. Yeah, I'm trying to think. What's the bigger? Is it more problematic to have 4 numbers that we never use for everything on screen, Or is it more problematic to do a if check on sprite proxy to see what's, what its data is?
Right.
And and I don't know, so I'm just going to go. I'm just going to keep
Yeah.
going. Is what I'm going to go. So I'm going to say crop top. I'm going to add some pieces here. Crop left and crop right and crop bottom, like that. So we've added these numbers here as well. And cropped, and so we're going to do that, and then we need to figure out what the cropping is. I'm not going to do that yet. So that's our sprite proxy. Can do that now. Let's go back. We need to do one other thing that's kind of important. We need to, since we added this new class called wall, we need to go into our index.cshtml page, and we need to reference wall.
That's right, because we're not using any kind of bundling logic just yet. We are having to directly reference our generated JS files.
Yeah. So let's come in here and we're going to say wall.js. So there's that. And close that down. That should now work when I run it. Let's get back to my wall class. Let's review that for a second here. We've got the end caps we're pushing on there. So when we create a new wall, the wall is we're going to create that for our the lightsaber. That's going to draw, and it's not going to be cropped. It's going to be full on out there. So we're going to get this thing that's going to be a little bit more than we want. The draw adornments, I think we don't need to do because the end caps are going to be drawn as well. Let's just verify that the end caps are in fact drawn. Let's go blast out to those. And there's our draw. They are drawn. Okay.
Yep.
So now in our test function, we're going to say new wall right here. And I guess I'll put it at the middle of the screen for now. We'll do that. The orientation is going to be orientation dot, make it horizontal. And the wall type dot, let's try solid. And we'll play with that. So we're going to create that new wall there. And I think that's it. I'm going to clear the overlay. I'm going to hit run. Maruko Tanada says drone. I don't think you're not going to be able to launch it. Whoops! Till I get back and I reload the screen here. We're compiling and building, by the way, as well. So the build is. Hold on. Let me do. Where is it? Over there. It's just going to show you the build icon. Whoops. Come on. Come on. Don't make me sad. There we go. There's the build icon right there. So it's building still. Maruko Tanada did the drone command, and I think nothing happened because I was on another, the overlay wasn't loaded yet. I'm going to actually unload the overlay till the build finishes here. So let's do that. And right there over my left shoulder, you can see the, okay, there, just stopped the build. The icon was updating, and now we're loading it. Okay, here we go.
There we go.
Let's load the overlay as well. And let's try the test command and see what we get here. See if we are in good shape or not. Maruko said it just tuned in, so I wasn't sure where you were at things. I did the test command.
That's a pretty sensible state of affairs. You know, tune in, launch a drone, then ask questions. I like that. I think this is a good first point of contact.
Okay, check it out. We've actually got, well, we've got two things.
Oh.
And I don't understand why we have the other one, why we have an extra one, but we do have the ball together, which is awesome. Oh, wait, I know what's going on. Hold on.
Oh, is it the other test?
No, I'm adding a wall to the end caps, but I will need to add it to the walls is what I need to do here. So let's go look at end caps here. I've got 4 different walls, and what I need to do is add it to the horizontal solid wall, that piece right there. So I'm going to come in and we're going to add it here. That should fix what we're seeing around this kind of area of the screen here. It's hard to see my cursor here, but just, you know, in the middle of the screen where those balls are. The one on the left side, that ball right there, that one is, that left half is because we were adding to the wrong list. Now if we add to the solid wall, we're going to see that laser animation, that saber animation, I think behind it. Wait, are we drawing these yet? We're not drawing these yet. All walls, are we drawing all walls? We're not drawing all walls either. So let's go see where the end caps are drawn and add a call to all walls. .draw. Okay, so that's going to draw our walls and their end caps on top. Let's go ahead and refresh. And move this off screen. Actually, I can refresh here as well. I think this loads up a little faster. Oh, but I'm not seeing it. Is it because of the cache? I wonder if it's the cache. Is that possible? Doesn't make sense. Oh, I haven't done the test command. That's why. Hold on. Let's do the test command. And the overlay's loading as well. I just probably wait a second for the overlay to finish loading. Oh, wait. Has it finished loading? And it's an optical illusion. It's finished loading. Okay, cool.
I see a few bits, yeah.
Here comes the test command right now. Cool. The laser's moving too fast. The animation on the laser is too fast. And it's not quite centered. And it's not cropped.
Well, true. There's definitely room for improvement. But we have a left end cap, we have a right end cap, which are the ones we asked for, and we have a laser in between. So, you know, not bad.
Not bad. Actually, you know what I just realized is the right half is already in the correct position. It just needs to use the exact same coordinates as the left half. There's nothing special here going on. So, so we're going to say cap left like this, and that's going to be equal to this. So we're just going to do that and that, like that. Okay? And then we're going to have something very similar down here. It's going to be cap top. It's going to be y minus sprite height. Like that. And then the cap top does the same thing. So that's at least when we're starting, in the starting position, like that. Okay?
They're not going to superimpose on top of one another.
They're not, no. And the reason why is because the images for these are a square, and so the left half is on the left side of that image, and the right side...
So they've got 50% outward.
Yeah, if you give them the same X and Y, they're going to be totally lined up. We can do a quick test on that right there. I'm going to do the same thing over in... we want to do one other change anyway. Hold on. We want to also, let's see here, go to main, I think in our test function. We want to go into our horizontal solid wall. This is the load wall. Here's my problem here. Too fast. I'm going to double it, at least double it. So this is the frame rate here. I'm going to say 35. We're going to run that instead. So let's switch over and reload that overlay back up. And I'm going to refresh it over in the one we're running as well, because I think this is going to load a little bit faster. And it looks like it's loaded. Send out the test command, and there it is. So they're right on top of each other like that. Okay, so not bad. Yeah, I agree, not bad. If we're cropped, we need to do something about the cropping, and we need to do something about the distance and make all that set up. But I'm looking at the time, and I'm realizing that, hey, Rory normally is with us for an hour, and he's got to go. You got to go, Rory?
Yeah, I got to go, bud.
Okay.
I do.
You know what time it is?
Before I go.
Oh, wait. Hold on, Rory. Somebody just asked, do you know what time it is? And yes, it's time for the
Code Rush giveaway.
giveaway. We do this every show. 3 copies a week. If you're a follower, you are automatically in the running. Today's winner for Code Rush is...
Real McCoy.
Real McCoy. Excellent.
Congratulations. Well done.
Well done. Good job. You did some really good work there. Real good work there, Real McCoy.
Absolutely.
So we're going to, I'll contact you after the show, give you instructions on Twitch DM on how to download, on how to get your copy, your free copy of CodeRushed. And with that, Rory, I'm going to say goodbye to you. I'm going to keep going for a little bit.
Yeah, man, I will catch you tomorrow night, I guess.
Tomorrow night, tomorrow morning, tomorrow
Well,
day,
from
tomorrow
various
afternoon.
perspectives.
The only
Glorious world of ours.
I think the downside is in Australia we're on at like 3 a.m. So we don't have any of our Australian friends. I almost feel like I want to do a couple different times instead of just one consistent time across the board.
That'd be novel.
Yeah, it would be. We might do that. All right, Roy, thanks so much, and we'll see you
All right,
tomorrow.
man. Catch you tomorrow. Bye.
Okay, bye. All right, so let's look at that. I think what I want to do is I want to get some... let's do one other thing too. I just want to double check to make sure that the chat
Awesome!
good is doing that. And so I want to make sure that. Also, how was the sound level on that? Was that too loud? Let me know if that that awesome was too loud. Okay, so let's see what I want to do. I want to go into wall again, I think. And I want to come in here and I want to say cropped is true. It's actually in super, isn't it? So super dot cropped is true. So if that's the case, then we're going to come in here and we're going to super dot, and we're going to set these things in here. So we'll say crop left and crop right and that sort of thing. And let's go take a look at the assets that are out here. For horizontal, it's 1920 by 100 if it's solid. Let's make sure it's the same if it's dashed. That would be really awesome if it were the case. 1910 by 100. So it is not quite the same right here. So what we need to do is we need to have essentially, we need to have length is what I want here. I want a property called length, like this. And I think it's going to be, hold on. I think it's going to be a parameter. Length like that. And when we come, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this public like this. And then I want to have a number up here called actual length, like that. And we'll start off by saying actual length is equal to 0. And we'll later increase that, is what my plan is to do here, until it matches length based on how much time we're here. And then there's another thing that I think Sprite Proxy does, which is there's a function in here called update position, I think, that we can override. Let's grab that, at least so we have the declaration for it. And we don't need this yet. Or do we? We might need, well, we're going to mess with X and or Y based on what's going on with update position. So based on seconds passed, this is where we can kind of open it up. We can open up the those end caps. Let's see here. There's our actual length. Our length is going to be a new property of it. Our actual length is going to be 0. And the cropped is true, and in update position we have to figure out where are we with regards to. By the way, let's look at super. I want to see if time start is set inside of super. It is. So time start when that thing goes is going to be set. So we'll know how many seconds old we are. So now what we want to do is we want to figure out how far to travel. So we're going to say the travel distance, or the half distance, I guess is what we would call this. So we're going to say half length, maybe. And so we're going to do this. If seconds pass is less than, I don't know, something like max or extend time, like that, we'll create something called extend time. And extend time is going to be equal to 2, like that. So 2 seconds to come out. And if it's less than it, then we are going to set half expected length is equal to this dot length times seconds passed divided by extend time. Like that is what I think that we're going to do. And let's see. So the seconds passed divided by the extend time, that's going to give us some percentage. That length, and we want to divide that by 2 as well. So that's our half expected length. The other way around this is we're going to say half expected length is equal to this dot length divided by 2. So that's our half expected length right there. And let's see here. Now what I think we want to do is we want to go in and have the same kind of check to see what is our horizontal or, and as soon as I do this, you know, copy this code and paste this down, I'm like, do I really want to do this, or do I want to have 2 different descendants, one for vertical and one for horizontal? But I'm going to do this for now, and we'll refactor later if it feels compelling. So now we're going to figure out our new left position right here, and that's going to be equal to we have a slight problem, I'm just realizing, with regards to the, like if we're drawing a horizontal line and we say we want to start it in the middle of the screen, it's kind of going like this. We really want to move it over to the left. We want to shift that to the left a bit is what we want to do. And I don't think there's any capacity in Sprite Proxy yet to do any kind of shifting. And when Rory and I were starting this, we were talking about whether we create a descendant of this or not. And now I'm feeling that I'm back to liking the descendant aspect of this, because we can do all of the cropping, everything that we need. And yeah, I'm liking that. Let's go back and look at this. Yeah, we were like kind of here. And yeah, I'm not sure exactly whether we want to do this or not. I'm kind of totally torn between, they both have good and bad ways in terms of solving this problem. All right, I'm going to keep it for now as it is, but I have a feeling it's going to be, I'm going to do a show on refactoring, and this might be the piece that we work with when we refactor. This might be one of the things we do on this. Okay, so let's see. Let's kind of reorient where we were here. So what I think I want to do is I want to say, I think I wanted to have the problem I have is I want to shift it over to the left. Is what I want to do. And not have it aligned to the upper left of its XY coordinates. I want the XY coordinates of the wall to be the center of the wall, is what I wanted to do. And to do that, I kind of have to fundamentally change it, is what I have to do. So let's go ahead and do that. I am going to do a descendant on it. Let's do that. So we're going to say sprite.draw. Like that. And it's going to take the context, the base animation, and now. That's what it's going to take in. So we're going to go back and do that. I'm going to grab that, come down there, and let's declare it. Let's drill into it. It's going to be base animation, this dot x, this dot y, this dot frame index. There's my draw adornments. And now this is going to make it much easier for me to move that and adjust that off to the side a little bit if I need to do that. Base animation is a part. So that's the part. This is the part that Rory didn't like doing. This is the part we didn't like doing. What we almost really want to do is look at this draw by index piece in here. And what we really want to do is do something like this, where we, instead of passing in the, passing in base animation, we want to pass in base animation dot draw by index is what we want to do. Let's go look at base animation. Where is that declared? Why don't we have base animation? I'm not sure. Why am I not finding it here? Oh, this dot base animation. There we go. Really? Come on. Okay, maybe it's not actually there. I thought for sure it was there. Is it because I've got draw right here? No. Okay. Let's search through here. Hold on a second. Base animation is definitely there inside of sprites. Why was I not seeing it? Where was I? Was I in the wrong spot? Was I not in sprites? Oh, I'm in the for each. That's my problem. Oh, what's interesting is we're actually passing in this argument here, so it will work, but it's just that the tools that are inside Visual Studio aren't working right now. So, so anyway, we were on the right track, and it's draw by index is the piece that we want to pass into it, like that. That's what we want to have put in there. I could also, to get IntelliSense to work, is I could say let self of like that equal this, like that, and I could reference self down in here, and that I think is going to give me some IntelliSense. Yeah, there it goes. And there's draw by index. Let's come in here. Let's kill this because I want to have a better declaration of this, because the declaration of this is somewhat complex. So we'll come in and redeclare that, and now drill into it, and now we can see nice, much better declaration. So there it's passing in the signature of the function that we're passing into it. That's what we're doing. And so now, instead of having to know about a particular class, we just have a function that does the drawing, which is much better. So now we kind of have this nice, let's see here, hold on a second. Did you write Sprite Proxy or is that a tool? We wrote everything in here. The only third-party stuff is an artwork. That's right, Will Bennett. So move versus expand, I'm not sure what that is. When working graphically, I try to give my objects a center property, sometimes more useful in the top left for centering. Yeah, Maruko, I totally agree with you. It's a beautiful way of doing that. But because we were building it all ourselves, we started with the upper left, which seemed to work well for a lot of things. And so we just kept it. And we also added the ability, I think, to calculate the center pretty easily, or to get to the center of it based on the size of the sprite. So that's kind of what's going on there. Will Bennett says, don't know if you missed it. You can use an object array for the cropped fields, then just need to test and assign one field, and the memory footprint is smaller for instances that don't need it. Ah, that's interesting, Will, because that was one of the things we were talking about is the impact of that. But ultimately, I think I decided we're not going to have more than a couple hundred objects on screen at once, maybe 1,000 at most, and 1,000 times 4 numbers, or is not, from my perspective, was something that we could sustain. It wasn't a huge problem. All right, so okay, so let's see here. We've got now, instead of calling base animation, we're just going to call draw by index. on it like that. And so there is, and how can we, and that allows us to at least move the X and Y. So it's going to be able to allow us to do that in our descendant. So now in our wall descendant, let's come back over here. We're in the middle of this update position piece right here. There's our draw. So I think all we need to do is change a half expected length into a field variable. And we're gonna do the declare on that. Oh, I got to do this, I think. Can I declare it? Is it declaring? I'm hitting the key. There it is right there. Okay, like that. And so that got it as a number. And okay, and I think this is all we need to do. That's all we need to do. And then right here, this is our override. And so we're going to say, so our capped left, this is going to need to change a little bit right here. If we're horizontal, then we're going to need to get our half expected length. And it's going to be like our this dot x minus half expected length, this dot x plus half expected length. And I think we need one other thing inside of the constructor somewhere. Well, maybe not. We're going to say half cap length and set that equal to, since this is a square, I think we're okay doing that. The height and the width are the same. Let's verify that. Game dev, assets, firewall, end caps, properties. Now I gotta come in and do this and get open file and folder and then look at it. 68 by 68, excellent. Okay, so the half cap length is there. So if we're going horizontal, it's going to be the X position, which is now going to be the center, minus the half expected length, or this should be half actual length. Let's change that. Even though it's not quite set yet when we declare it. When update position, that's where it's set, but it's not drawn yet. I guess that's okay. All right, so we're going to say X minus the half of the actual length to get over there. Then we're going to say minus half cap length. And on the other side, it's going to say the X plus it. And I think we're going to have to do a minus half cap length here as well. This is going to be this dot y, and that's going to be this dot y, I think. And actually, we could argue that we really want to center the ball right at that exact position. So we're going to actually do minus half cap length here too for this and this. Okay, so there's that if we're horizontal. And if we're vertical, it's going to be this piece is going to go here. And this piece is going to go here, right? So the y minus, it goes up, and the y plus goes down there. And this one, though, is going to be plus for both of these, half cap length, I think. Is that right? So we're here, we want it to be the middle. No, it's minus to get it up in the right spot. It's minus. And I think that's correct. And so the difference, though, is, whoops, hold on one second. We don't want to create a new sprite proxy here. What we want to do is we want to say dot x equals that. And this dot y, whoops, dot x is equal to that. And hold on, getting there, getting there, getting there. Y is equal to this one. That's what this code looks like here. Okay, so there's that piece there. And number 2 is the plus piece. So there's that. And ncap2.y is equal to this. All right, that is here. Let's come down and paste that in because it's going to be easier to modify this. And now we're going to come down here and we're going to say, we're going to do this, that the ncap y is now moving instead. And I think the code's easier to read as well, in addition to being correct. And then we're going to say, okay, so that's moving our end caps in the draw, but the draw. This actually, this should be an update position. So we're going to move those end caps that we have references to. I think we're also going to need this line of code here, right there, half cap length. And then now what we want to do is change draw by index. For now, I'm going to just comment this out is all I'm going to do. So we're not going to draw the lightsaber. And so the test for all of this work is that the ball comes up and separates. Let's see if that works. Let's see if we've done enough to be able to do that. I'm going to reload over here. And let's also reload up here. Looks like we have an error. Let's look at that. What's our error? Draw by index. Cannot read property of images undefined. This dot images, the draw by index has got the wrong this is being sent to it. Okay. So that's we're gonna have to, some of this code is not going to work. This code here is not going to work. We're going to have to change it back to what we were starting with here. Hold on a second. Let's go find where it's called. Calling function is in sprites. There's my draw. And we're going to give up on that. Go back to this base animation. Get rid of this. And then we're going to come in and change it to part here. Yeah, because I think there's no way we can really, or wait, maybe we can. Hold on a second. Let's look at this. Let's undo for just a second. Can I bind it? That's the bind. And here's the discard. That, I think, is going to fix it, actually. Let's do that instead. So we'll keep it where we were. No drawing here, but that update position we should see animation. That's what I'm hoping to see. Haven't assigned actual length yet, right? It says Will Bennett. Oh, you're right. Good point. Right there. So we need to look at the constructor for wall. And I think that's over here. There it is right there. And the length of the wall, we're going to do it in pixels, so we'll say 500 is what we're going to look for here. So let's try that. We're going to refresh the overlay. I'm going to refresh over here as well. Oh, didn't like that. What did it not like? Still, why is that a problem? That totally feels like it should have fixed that inside of sprites. Wait. It's not that. It's the wrong one. That's what I want. Right there. Okay? Let's try that. Okay, I think we're getting closer. That was it. That was the fix. Okay, so we'll come in, refresh over here. We'll Well, then it says you can declare functions that are purely used for callbacks as fat arrow functions. That way you don't have to worry about this binding. Purely used as fat arrow functions. What is that? Arrow functions. Yeah, I'm not sure this is going to... I'm not sure that's going to help us in this scenario because we need to access the properties, the other properties in the draw mechanism. So we need the reference. It needs the draw by index call. It needs to reference it's this dot images and this dot offset. So it's very object centric, and I'm thinking that might work if I don't have those things, is what I think. But I'm not entirely certain about that. Maybe this will, if I'm wrong on that, let me know. Okay. So let's see here. Let's close this. And let's do a test and see what happens if we do a test here. Okay. Well, we've got the ball in the right position. It's not moving. Is it not moving because update position isn't being called? That might be what's happening here. Hold on a second. I bet update, sprite proxy. I bet update position is only called if we have moves set to true. Let's go take a look at that. The sprite's not owned. Update positions. If it moves, we call update positions. So we're not calling it. Let's see what's going on here. Sprite update position. And then this in the drone is doing all this stuff because it's got acceleration and stuff like that. There's my sprite proxy. Do I have in wall? Do I have an update position? I do. Why is... Let's see what's going on here. All right, so let's do this. Let's change this a bit, and we want to go to main, and we want to find inside load walls, we want to get our end caps. Here's where we create it. Here's where we want to say the end caps move. Like that. And let's refresh that. Let's do a refresh over here and clear out the overlay for a second and bring in the test command. Maruko is saying, are you sure it wouldn't be better as a resize method or an update size? No. Yeah, I don't know yet. I'm thinking about that. I don't have a strong answer to that yet. Let me send the test command in. See if we get it. Still don't have motion. Okay. So why don't we have motion is the question. Let's set a breakpoint here and see what happens. And let's do the test command again. Can I get a breakpoint here? Oh, I may not be able to do this because this is new code since we last ran. So I think I'm going to have to close this down and rebuild. Let me do my abrupt kill of Chrome. Let's restart. Let's start it back up so we'll see the build. Okay. And give it the test command. Huh. Okay. Not the direction I was hoping for. Why didn't the update position work? What's going on here with, and tap to next reference is not finding this. Is this because I don't have the right type here? Let's look at sprite proxy. Yeah. Is it not finding it because it thinks it's a different type? No, I don't think that doesn't make sense to me. sprite proxy. We are extending sprite proxy in the wall. That should totally extend that. Let's see if we make it really super clear. What's interesting is if I'm using CodeRush's tab to next reference, I find all of them except for wall, and I'm not seeing wall there. And that's really bizarre why it's not finding it. And I wonder if it's related to why Visual Studio isn't finding it as well, or why we're not hitting this apparent breakpoint. Let me close everything down again. We'll close that down. We're going to kill Chrome. Start the build again. Right over my left shoulder there, you can see the build icon right there. Starting up. Yeah, I kind of get the feeling this is just going to work this time. Instead of dropping due to gravity, it's going to... All right, so let's try the test. Nope. All right, let's see if we got a... And the breakpoint is never hit. Why is this never hit? We're extending sprite proxy. Sprite proxy's got the update position right there. We're creating a new wall, right? We're doing that. Let's make sure that that's all. Yeah, there's our new wall. Horizontal solid wall should, the all walls should be drawn. We've done that, right? They're drawn. Endcaps.moves. Hold on. Where's my update position here? My rocket's got an update position explicitly on it. Let's look at sprites where update position here is called. It's called in before the draw, just before the draw. So the wall does not move, so it's not going to get its update positions called, I think. But when the other pieces draw, it will. They will get the update position called. We call update position on the others, but it's not the wall. I'm starting to unravel the problem here. The problem is that update position isn't called, we kind of need to do this. We need to say that wall, we need to do this, I think. We need to say, let's go find our wall. Where is it? There's our wall. Okay, so we need to say that these move as well, is what we need to say. Is equal to true. Like that. Like that. And like this. This is going to get us the call I think we need into walls update position. And if that happens, then we do this and we're done. So we're not going to be dropping. And I think that can solve this. So let's try that. Let's see if we can just do a refresh of that out here without doing that hard shutdown and restart. And come in here and do a test on it. Here comes a test. Nothing. Orientation is not defined. It's got to be this dot orientation. Okay. Okay. Let's try again. Let's bring up the console, just see if there are any errors. Send another test. I think this is going to work. No, what? What? I feel like we're really on to this, really close to this. Let's try an empty cache and hard reload, see if we get any closer. I feel like the changes were there that we needed. Let's try another test. Oops, where's our console? This time nothing's happening. Let's double check that. Like nothing is happening now. Okay. So why is that? Our end caps 1 and 2 are stored and saved. We're not drawing this piece, but we should totally be drawing the other pieces. The end caps should still be drawn because they're in the end caps instance. My thoughts are there's a problem with this code here. That's kind of what I think is the problem. Let's set a breakpoint here. Let's do a hard reset of Chrome. Let's do a test. And do we get at the breakpoint? No, we don't get at the breakpoint. Do we get here? Oh, we got it that time. Okay, so let's step through the code and see what we've got here. So seconds passed is equal to very little, very few seconds passed. And actual half length is equal to barely even 1. So that's pretty good. Let's keep running, I think. There's our draw. Okay, so we're not drawing that. Let's try again here and see what we've got here. This time our half length is 250. That means our end cap x is equal to 516, end cap 2 is equal to 766. Those are both values that are in range. The y and the x are also in range. So those end caps should be drawing. We should see them. This draw is not happening for the wall, but the end caps are not stored here. The end caps are put inside of this end caps piece, which is declared here, and this has its own draw piece. So those should totally be drawn. All right, let's set a breakpoint here and run. And then let's drill down inside of here, and let's call that right there and see where we get to. Let's and set a breakpoint here. We should, yep, we're inside here. So now we're in the cap drawing, and let's see if we can step into this. Calling draw by index, which is this piece right here. Let's step into that if we can. Can we? There's the draw by index there. There are four, the image array has got 4 different pieces, so we're in the end caps piece. The x is 766, offset x is 0. The call to jiggle is going to return nothing because there's no jiggle. That's for the engines so that they can kind of jiggle like that while they're running. So this should totally be working. Why is it we're not seeing anything? I don't get it. I'm going to clear these breakpoints. Continue running. Try one more time without the breakpoints. Why don't we see it? Oh, well now we see it, but it's doing that instead. Let's go look at that and see what's happening with that code. So ncaps.draw is happening here. If it moves, then we're calling update positions. Update positions goes for every sprite. Then we call update position. And we have this mysterious thing where wall extends sprite proxy, but for some reason this update position, is it called or not? Wait, we did get in here, is what we did. We did get inside here. Hold on, I think I know what's happening here. We're getting closer, closer, closer. Okay, I think this is the fix. I think the problem is that we want to clear this and say the end caps don't move. Because by saying that they move, then it's basically, all right, let's call it update positions on end caps, and end caps are just regular, are just regular. When we add to this, it's, when we add to it, let's see, it's right over here. It's just, we're just passing in regular old sprite proxies. So there's not going to be any overridden behavior. I think that's the fix, is what I think it is. So let's try that now and see. And now I feel like we're getting, this is going to work. Let's see, test. Finally. Okay. So that works. Will Bennett's asking, is it calling update position on the end caps, not the wall? And I think that you were essentially, we're moving in the same direction on that, Will. It looks like it's working now. Now, I don't like that it's animating out at this, you know, really uncomfortable pace. And I'd like it to be look smoother, is what I would like to do. But functionally, though, it's essentially there. The next piece, so what I want to do is I think I want to keep it functionally. I'm not going to fix that now. The next thing I want to do is see if I can get the cropping to work on this and get the positioning in the center to center it around that place so that as it comes out, it extends the lightsaber. So let's see if we can get that working. Let's go to wall, and in our draw override, we need, let's see, we've got a draw by index call, and which goes to, hold on. And draw by index goes to, it goes into part, sorry. Goes into part, this draw by index call here, which calls draw image. And as I recall, draw image has additional parameters which set up how we can do the cropping on this. So let's go figure that out. Let's go look at, get some help for this. How do we crop an image? Crop context. Okay, so we're going from our source image and to our destination. So we've got, looks like 6 additional arguments, and here they are. This is beautiful. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come back over here into draw image, and I'm going to do something like this. If this dot cropped, don't I have a cropped in here? Or no. Oh no, this is in part. So let's do this instead. Let's have a draw cropped by index that we'll create. by index. Let's go get that image on the clipboard again. Copy that image. Come back over here. Paste that image in as a reference. And so we're going to add those additional 6 parameters here. And we're going to say sx, sy, dx, dy, and dw, like that, and d h for height. And oops, we had that right down here. Okay. Oh, I see. I didn't realize where we were. Okay. So do I have my commas here? Don't have my commas. Let's add the commas. Okay. All right. And then we're going to say draw image, and we're going to pass in those additional pieces there. Destination X and Y. So that's dx, dy, oh, it looks like we need the source first. That's what we want, number 3. So source X and Y. So it's going to be SX, SY, destination X, destination Y, destination width, DW, and DH, like that, right there. And that should do it. Okay, good. Excellent. Draw cropped by index. Excellente. Okay. So that's pretty good. So now we just have to figure out the height and width and how much of that we're going to take, right? And so let's figure that out. So we're going to go into wall, I think, and we're going to say, so we basically need to do this, draw cropped by image. That's in the part, is where that is. Draw by index. Oh no, we're screwed. Okay, yep, we're going back and forth on this. So let's go back into sprites. We're going to have to change this up again. Where's my draw? There's my draw. Right there. Okay, I'm going back to passing in what we kind of started with here. So we're going to go to draw. We're going to change this to a part. Like that. And then we're going to call that on it. That means now in our descendant wall, we're going to change this to that. And we're going to call base animation dot draw cropped by index. Okay. So we're kind of getting there. We're getting closer. The half actual length is going to help us out. So the position that we're going to draw this at, again, it depends on what our orientation is. But I think it's going to look something like, let's do this here. Hold on. I think we can do this, and we're going to come down and we're going to say X and Y offset. So we're going to need some variables here. So we're going to say X offset, like that. I'm not sure I have to initialize these just yet or not. Y offset is there. We need an SX. Let's go grab that. Where we were at part? We were at part. Let me just copy that. And let's go over to wall. Just have it as a reference as we're writing this code. Okay. So we need an SX, an SY. And since we're not going to scale the SW is equal to the DW, and the SH is equal to the DH. So the height matches the height, and the width matches the width. So now we can just create a new width and a new height, like that. And I think those are the pieces that we need there to pass that information in. So now we're going to say if the orientation is horizontal, then that means the height is going to be equal to the horizontal, both of these walls, sprite height, I think, like that. Okay, so there's that. Otherwise, if we're down here, we're going to say the width is equal to that. Like that. Okay. Then the let's get rid of this. And we need to pass in the additional parameters here. Those additional parameters are SX, SY, DX, DY, did I forget SW and SH in over here? Let's go look at this a second. What did I do wrong? Hold on. That's my source. Draw image. Oh, I see what's happening. My X and Y's are here. There's my X, there's my Y. So it's the SX. This needs to be source width and source height. So this is SW, and this is SH, which means I'm passing in my source width here and my source height there. That's what's happening. Okay, so I've got that now, because my X and Y are where I want to, or wait, the DX and DY, that's these two parameters. Hold on, I'm getting it. These two are my destination. Let's do this. Create a new number here. This is going to be the DY, DX and DY. DX is that. And then DY is this. And then this is not passed in because we can calculate the X and Y. This is I think it's not needed, is what I think. All right, let's see what we've got here. And then now we have our parameters are source X, that's what's got to be passed in, SX and SY. Okay. So we'll say like that, I think. All right. So we're going to pass in our source X and Y, width and height, and then the destination X and Y are those two we've calculated out, and then the width and height is coming in as well. So let's just double check, make sure we got our parameters lined up here. So I've got the SX is my source X, source Y. I'm just lining up, looking at how these line up here between what's highlighted and what's highlighted down here. That's my source width, source height, destination X, destination Y, destination W, or destination width, and destination height. Good. Okay, come back over here. See what we've got here now. we're going to need our X and Y that we pass in, our frame index, our source X and Y. So the X and Y on the left are the destination where we're going to start drawing this thing from. The source X and Y is, looks like, wait, hold on a second. Let's just get all these in and name them at least. So this is SW and SH and DH. This is DW and DH. Is that it? Nope. Well, I think it is. It just doesn't know what those are yet. Okay. So now we need to just declare these and figure that part out. Actually, width and height, we said we're going to be the same. That's what we said. So the width, we're not going to do any scaling. So that's width, and the other one is height. Whoops. Height there and height here. Okay. So there's our draw cropped by index. Feels reasonably good. Now we just got to we need to assign values to these. So if we're horizontal, my source Y is 0. If we're vertical, my source X is 0. Okay. If we are, let's see what else. Horizontal, what else do we need to get here? We need to get, we need to calculate the width and the height piece. So we need to get width here. So width here for horizontal, I think is arguably equal to this dot half actual length times 2. And down here, height is equal to that. Okay? With height, SI. So we need now down here, we need SY. So where are we going to get it? SY is equal to, we need to get to the center point is what we need to get to. And I think it's going to make sense to declare some variables up here to hold the center. So we're going to do a, call this center X, and that is equal to base animation dot sprites, right? Images? What is it? I thought we had a sprite, an image size here. That's in the outside of this. Can I come in here and grab the image with itself? What is this type? Push the image. The image is an image. Let's see what happens if we do this. Change that type, see if we can get some assistance here from IntelliSense. Try to bring that up. Does not want to help me on that. Oh, it doesn't like this. Can I find image? Wait, where did I get that? I've got new image right here in part. It's got 2 of them here. Yeah. Okay. Let's do this for a second. Yeah, it's in the generated pieces that are out here. Okay. So I'm not sure why I'm not going to get IntelliSense on that. Wait, actually, let's go back and look what it would have brought for me here. Declare var image, HTML image element. I guess that's what I want right there. So let's at least use that and do this, right, like that. Okay, so now let's come back over to here and see if I can now from here get the height of this thing. Height, right there, width. Let's try it. Width divided by 2. So we're just going to get that first sprite in that image. And then we're going to do the same with center Y. Okay, so there's our center X and Y that we need. So now we're going to come down here and say if we're vertical, then our Y position is equal to center Y. It's going to be like this dot Y plus the center Y. That gets us to our halfway point right there of the piece. Hold on. Minus center Y right there plus, hold on, this Y is where we're going to say is the center of the piece. So we're going to, yeah, I think the source Y is going to, it's just going to be, actually not going to use center Y at all. I think it's going to be this dot Y minus half actual length. Hold on. This dot Y, wait, I got it. I'm getting it, I get it. It's it's center Y minus half actual length. That's what I want. Okay. And then the 90-degree rotation of that is Sx is equal to center X minus this dot half actual length. So now we've assigned Sx, Xy, Sy width and height. The last piece we need, the destination pieces are X and Y. Yeah, so the last thing we need to do is this, modify this. And I think that we are going to just add one more variable here called, I've got them already. I've got X offset and Y offset. So we're going to, in here, we're going to say X offset is equal to negative this dot half actual length. And over here, we're going to say Y offset is equal to negative half actual length. And then the final bits of code we're going to add are here. This, and then we're going to say plus X offset. And I think it's going to crop, is what I think it's going to do. I feel like we're really close. I copied half cap length in here. I'm not using it right now because I was anticipating I was going to need that to adjust, but I think it's going to be close, and I may not need it. So we'll comment this out for now. All right, so let's do that. We're going to now reload the main screen here. And looks like it's not loading. We may have a problem in here. Let's go back over here, close this down, refresh, see if we can find our problem. Do an inspect. Oh, no, wait, it loaded. Okay, it's just slow to load up. Okay, so let's do a test here and see what happens. If I type in test, so we're not drawing. That part's not working, and I don't know why. Let's figure that out. See if we can figure that out. All right. I think we're going to have to step through it. So let's do that. I'm going to close this down. Switch over to another view of this. Let's kill Chrome. let's go ahead and start. No. What's that? What is going on here? I think the problem is it's HTML image element though. Why isn't it not getting and understanding that? I think we're going to have to typecast it is what I think we're going to have to do. So let's do that. See if that solves that problem. Where else do we have it? These errors have not gone away. I don't understand that. That should totally, feels like it should totally work. All right, let's see if we can run it again. See if this compile will make those errors go away. That looks like it's working. Okay. All right. Let's do another test. All right, let's set a breakpoint. There's my breakpoint. And we're in the draw function here. So let's see what we've got. Height is equal to sprite height. That's 100. Good. Source y is 0. Width is 500. Feels good to me so far. The x is center x minus half actual length. Okay, so the center x is equal to 960. That feels correct to me. Yeah, that's half of 1920, which is the width of that piece. So we're going from the center. We're basically taking the center. We're going back half the actual length. So we're saying let's grab from point 710. Then the x offset, this is what we're going to add to the x position, is going to be negative 250. So our x is 800. We're going to go back 250. That looks and feels, that feels good to me. Draw cropped by index. Let's step inside of that. And let's see where our x and our y's ultimately get to here. Our destination x is 5, yeah, so it's 550. Ooh, destination y, what happened here? Y is not a number? That's our problem, I think. Y is not a number. Why is y not a number is our question. Let's go back and look at what came in here. Undefined. I see what we've done. Okay. So our y offset in this scenario is, hold on, half cap length. Half cap length. This is what I wanted to do. All right. So we're going to say our y offset is equal to negative half cap length. And then on this other side, we're going to say our x offset is equal to negative half cap length. That, I think, is going to fix it. So let's go ahead and continue. I think we're going to have to do a refresh out over here. Do a refresh on the overlay as well. Maruko, yeah, we're cropping the wall itself right now. I feel like we are close, is the answer to the question. I feel like we're about to do a test and see if it works. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. It needs to be adjusted, lifted up, but you can see it's cropping right on the lines there, right? If we come up here into the Chrome instance and we zoom into that, you can see that calculation is perfect right there. And it looks good. It's a nice animation.
Getting closer!
I agree. We are definitely getting closer, which is good because I was like, oh man, do I have the brain power to get through this? By the way, this is a loop, right? And it's a loop, but it looks like totally natural and random, but it's going around again and again and again and again, but it's seamless too, right? You don't see the loop, which is very cool about all these, the saber animations that I created for this. So we need to move this up. I'm trying to figure out what is the problem here. We are lining it up with the top here for Y, but we need to go up half of this distance right here, I think. Is that right? No, half of that length is what it looks like to me. Yeah. Why is that? So we're here in the horizontal. The Y offset is half the cap length. So normally, boom, boom, let's do a change here. Before we do anything, let's set this at, let's set the wall at 0, 0. The center of the wall, a new wall at, let's do two things. Because I want to make sure we're just perfect in terms of where we are here. So I'm going to say cross X and set that equal to, I don't know, let's do the same coordinates we've already got. 800 and cross Y. I'm going to draw crosshairs. That's what I'm going to do. 500, or maybe even better, let's do this. 1920 divided by 2 and 1080 divided by 2, like that. So this will be in the very center, and we're going to put this around that. So I want to make sure we're centered on it. That's what we want to do. And to determine whether we're centered or not, I think I've got, do I have a crosshairs? I wrote something a while back to draw crosshairs. Is that in here? No. Does not appear to be in here. It was in, I think, the other app that we wrote. So I'm going to just be like, let's create a new function called draw cross hairs. And we're going to take a context and an X and a Y. Whoops. Like that. And we're going to come in here. The context is it just of type context? Am I remembering that correctly? Nope. What's my context? Let's go look for context and so I can get the type. That's what it is. Oh, you know what I did? I remember I created a template for it. That's what it is right there, CTXT. Okay. So there's my draw crosshairs. Let's make it work here. I don't need, I just need cross section. So context dot draw line or line to move to. Is there a move to? So the move to the top of the line. So let's figure out what our our line cross size, cross half size, and it's equal to 8. So 8 pixels on each of the different pieces of the crosshairs. Cross Y. So there's our move to. And then we're going to say line to. And it's going to be this plus that. And then we're going to go do the same with the X and the Y. And then we're going to say context.stroke or something like that. Is this the function? I think it's that. What do we got? You want to line up the center, not the top? Yes, I totally agree, Maruko. Object.vertical center in the game app, and yeah. So that's what I want to do, and so what I'm putting a crosshairs out on the screen right now so that I can verify that I'm moving the right pieces in the right way. So let's see here. Stroke, I think, is what is the call. And then we're going to say, I think there's a line style. No. Stroke style. There it is. Stroke style is equal to red, like there. So it's going to be bright red. And I think that's the code for drawing crosshairs right there. And then I'm going to come in, oh wait, I just want this to be X and X and this to be Y and this one to be Y. Right there. And then I want to call draw crosshairs for my draw function. Oh no, it's not draw, it's update screen. Okay. And I'm going to put that on top of everything. There's my context, and we're going to pass in cross X and cross Y. Like that. And let's just see where everything lines up. So we're going to do a refresh. And it's reloading. We should see the crosshairs as soon as in the stream, as soon as the overlay finishes loading. All right, there we go. I've got crosshairs. There they are, right around, right above the caret, the mouse right there. So there's our crosshairs. Let's go ahead and send a test out. Okay, so we need to move the wall up is what we need to do. And it looks like the amount we need to move it is half of the size of the it's kind of where we were going. It's half of the half cap length is what it is. So we need to be, it's like this times, it looks like it's like this times that divided by 2 is what it looks like it is. It looks like this is that. That's what it looks like. Are you aligning the wall to the end caps or just setting its top? I am aligning the wall to the end caps. I'm aligning it to the center point that I'm telling it where the wall is going to be. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the that horizontal line to be right over the crosshairs is what I'm trying to do. So I want to move it up a bit. That's what I'm believing I'm trying to do here. And so that's what I believe. I have good intentions. So those are my good intentions. Let's see what happens now when we refresh. All right, it's loading up. Let's get ready to send the test command out. All right, it's loaded up the overlay, sending the test command out. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It's actually a little too high. How am I going to fix this? Am I going to hard code this? I think maybe I have a logic problem here. Maybe the problem isn't the cap length here. Because I was thinking, I think I got just, you know, I don't think this is the problem here. The y offset here is equal to, I bet this both makes more sense to me, and I bet it gives us better results. Yeah, I think I was trying to get something that was meaningful, but I think I just was totally off. I think that the cap length doesn't matter at all. And I think that was just a logic mistake. All right. Maruko thinks I'm complicating it with the crosshairs. The crosshairs are only here to test. I just want to make sure that the crosshairs are showing me what position I'm centering the wall on, and I want to make sure that visually it's actually centered on it is what I want to make sure that happens. So let's try it one more time. We're going to, whoops. X offset. Hold on. Did I make a mistake down here? X offset here. Hold on. Let me back up a second here. I want to make sure because I'm expecting these changes. Yeah, that's what I wanted to change it to. The only problem, I've got another problem here though, which is I'm kind of hard coding this horizontal solid wall. And what I really want to do is, well, actually I want to do the vertical solid wall. Like that, here. Change that. And I'm assuming, let's just see if we can verify this or not. Let's look at the horizontal walls, the dashed and solids. Make sure they're the same dimensions here. So this is 1910 by 100. Did we figure this out already that they were not the same? They're not. I think they're not. Yeah, this is 1920. Yeah, I had to do a different dimension on the other one too because of the repetitive loop of it to make that work. So we're going to have to actually pass in the in this draw call, I think the dimensions of that sprite to fix that. We've got a problem here. Fix for dashed lines. Pass in these dimensions, maybe, is the solution? Not sure. Okay, so now let's try it again. Let's do a refresh on this. So we're going to do this. Refresh. Okay. And let's try one more time. Let's get ready for send the test command in. Crosshairs are up. It's still loading. There, it's loaded. Here comes the test. Yeah, I think that's the answer. It feels like that center's off slightly by like 1 pixel, but it's generally not bad. It's not bad. Okay. Okay, so let's try vertical one. Verify that the vertical stuff is at least working for solids. And then we'll take a look at what problems we have for the other ones, which I'm anticipating that we're going to have. So let's do this. Let's also take let's go to the vertical. Let's just do this one right here. And I don't, we need this to be vertical. Okay. Let's make this one be 400. So we'll save that. We'll do a refresh. Make sure this all looks good. Okay, it's loading, getting ready for the test command. Okay. So not bad. So mechanically, we've worked out the cropping, and I think the cropping looks pretty good. It's not bad. It's not bad. Let me try one more thing. I just want to play with this idea of a jiggle in the end caps. Here's my wall where I create this. When I create the end caps, I can give them a jiggle, I think. Is it a parameter? How do I do that? Sprite proxy, I thought Sprite proxy has a jiggle. Oh no, it's the, I think, is it this? Is it the sprite piece itself? No? Let's go find jiggle. Where is jiggle? Not in sprite proxy. Let's look in sprites. Oh, it's in part is where it is. That's where it is. Okay, so I think we can get it like that. Let's go back to where we were. Whoops. So we're going to say end caps dot sprites. I think it's end caps dot sprites dot base animation dot. Is there a base animation in there? No. Where did I find base animation? No, it's not here. Doesn't make sense for it to be there. It totally makes sense for it to be in sprites. Why can't I see it in sprites? Sprites is an array of sprite proxy. Oh no, it's just in base animation of end caps. It's end caps dot base animation. There it is. Okay. And then do I have a jiggle here? There's a get jiggle. What's happening here? This is code we wrote a long time ago. It's jiggle X and jiggle Y is what I'm looking for. Okay. So actually I don't need this here. I can just say it, put it in the main when I create end caps. There it is. Why can't you see it? Is it private? It's private. Let's make that public. Okay. Is it because it's a parameter here? No, I don't see it there. It's interesting. Why did I make that private? Huh. Okay. I'm not seeing it, but let's give that a shot. Okay, so we have, let's try refreshing that with a jiggle of 4 pixels. See what happens. See if that looks a little more dynamic. I'm worried because the beam is going to decapitate you, says Sakelo. All right, so here we go. Let's do another test command out. Here it comes. All right, that's better. I want it to be a 2 maybe. Drop that down a lot. Let's refresh it. Get ready to get that test command in there. Here comes the load. Send the command out. It's not bad.
Dance battle!
Okay. It's time for a dance battle now, apparently. That's not bad. I kind of like it. I almost want to like take the, I almost want to do a jiggle on the horizontal stuff as well. Let's try this. Let's get a little crazy. Let's see what happens here. Let's just mess only with the vertical solid wall and play with that. So we're going to come in here like that and jiggle it just a little bit. See what happens on the, whoops, hold on, I got the wrong one. I said vertical solid, but I was definitely not in vertical solid. Okay, there we go. Let's try that, see what happens. Refresh. Well, Bennett says, getting jiggle with it. Exactly. You know, it's interesting to get to where we were to get it to open. Took a lot of code, and I was like, "Oh, this is so painful." But I'm much happier with a really fast edit, compile, test cycle where we don't have to write a whole bunch of code for a long period of time. All right, let's send the test command out. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I think the only argument you could make is that because of the jiggle, the cropping needs a few more pixels of distance, because I'm seeing right at the gap between the top of the dome and the, let's see, right up here. Hold on a second. It's right around this line, right up here. I'm seeing the kind of a little gap of blackness right there, and I want to see it go all the way behind it. So what I want to do then is I want to, inside the wall, I want to add a little bit of extra bonus width to it and distance here. So I want to just say jiggle bonus, probably one of the more fun variable names I've created. Jiggle bonus is, we're going to say, set that equal to 3, I think. That's going to be constant. And let's say that the width is equal to that plus the jiggle bonus, and the source X, not that, I want the X.
Nice variable name.
Yeah, I agree. That is a nice variable name. Don't you think?
Will Bennett rocks.
I think Will Bennett rocks, doesn't he? Okay. All right. So we've got, let's see, where was I? I was right here. Jiggle bonus is there for width. For height, we're going to add the jiggle bonus. And then for the X offset, or for the Y offset, it's going to be minus, if it's vertical, the jiggle bonus divided by 2. And if it is horizontal, the X offset minus there. And I think what will happen is we'll get rid of that little dark line we're seeing essentially right out in this area right here. That's what I'm looking to remove. Okay. Let's refresh. And let's send the command. Oops, I sent the command, but we hadn't loaded yet. Let's wait for the load to come in. Yeah, and I think we're good. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I love it. It's like, nicely, right? It looks really good, regardless of like the background, right? I feel like I can kind of hold the cup like that. Yeah, I'm into it. The jiggle makes it look alive, and I think it's good. So I think with that, I think I'm feeling like it's a good end of the show. I feel like we've been going for a while. It feels like almost 3 hours. And we will reset. Thanks to Rory. Thanks to Will Bennett. Thanks to Maruko, Sakelo, and everybody else who, SQL Mr. Magoo, everybody else who's been helpful in contributing. the CodeRushed winner, Real was it Real McCoy? I think it was who it was.
No!
Uh-oh. Wait, are you saying no, Will? You want to keep going? I'm like 50-50 on this. You want me to keep going? All right, let's do this. Let's do a poll. See what people think. Should I keep going? Poll. Should I keep coding? And you have choices of yes or no. And here comes the poll. So you can tell me if you want to see this keep going by answering either doing the exclamation mark 1 or exclamation mark 2. Oh, look at that. We got 2 votes already. All right. We're going to keep going. Unless we get a bunch of no's at the last minute. Oh, no. That was me. Just kidding. Here, I'll put me in the keep going. All right. All right. So let's keep going then. All right. So I think the next thing I want to do is I want these to come out at not such a static rate. Right now when these are coming out, they're coming out slowly. Or at a constant velocity. And I want them to, I want to do 2 things. I want the ball to first be thrown into position. So let's kind of get there first. Let's get the ball thrown in position, and then secondarily, it'll open up in a more dynamic way, where it kind of accelerates out, and then it goes out quickly and decelerates into position. So it'll be like, whoosh, like that. So it looks more natural. That's kind of what we're looking for. Okay, yeah, I'm really digging the looks of this, though. The other thing we can test as well, though, is we can test the dashed lines. That might be the other thing to do while we're here and we're so close to this code, because the dashed lines are not the same length, which means we're going to need to pass in to this the width and height of the sprite is what we're going to have to do. Pass in to the draw function. Is what I think we're going to have to do. Hold on 1 second, though. The base animation, horizontal solid wall, that's the sprites collection right there, yeah. So I think we're going to have to do, modify that, the draw command. Is what I think we're going to have to do to get those X and Y's, the width and heights coming in of the piece. Let's go take a look at it. Let's see. It's going to be in, I think, sprites. Draw. Here's where we need to change it. And so I think it's going to be self dot sprite width, self dot sprite height, like that. And then we're going to need to go to go look at that wherever that is. And now sprite width is there, sprite height is there. Let's copy those new parameters. Okay, and then let's go over into wall where we've overridden it, and then do this. Paste that in. And now we can come down in here and we can just say sprite height like that. And sprite height right here. I think this is all going to work. And then we don't have these kind of global references out there. Let's do just a refresh based on that and see if that solves it. Will Bennett suggesting ease in. Probably should change draw to return void. Good suggestion. Let's make that change. I did the refresh out here. We'll be able to do the test on it. Let's see, there's my draw there. There's my return void there. I think I just have it in those two places. I just have the draw override only and in wall. Wait, I said, where did I change it? I've changed it in 3 places. Oh, in sprites I changed it. Okay. That's okay. That's a good place to change it too. Will Bennett's suggesting ease in. We don't have ease in. There's no animation framework here that we're using. We're doing our own. So we're going to write that is what we're going to do. Let's do the test and see if just the same test is working. Looks good. Let's change it to the vertical instead. I'm sorry, not solid, but dashed. So we're going to say dashed here. Permeable is what we call it. And I feel like I want to change it to dashed. I'm renaming it to dashed. So we have 2 different options there for the wall type, solid or dashed. So we're going to have a vertical wall there. Let's go ahead and we'll just do that. We'll refresh. Do a test on the vertical. Don't forget about the crosshair. Removing it, I think you mean, Will Bennett? Okay, let's try it. That didn't work. Vertical solid wall. Oh, wait. I see what my problem is. I need to very specifically say, I need to grab the vertical dash wall and add it to it is what I need to do. So because the animation, so this tells me what, this parameter doesn't tell me the animation, it tells me what the behavior of the wall is. And then what I want to do is I want to change this to the vertical dashed wall, I think is what it was. Vertical dash wall, and add that piece in there. All right, let's try one more time. Yeah, I'll remove that crosshair. We'll do that. Guess we should do that now. I don't know. No, I want to do it for the other walls. I want to check the other walls before I remove it. I want to check the other horizontal. Okay, so here we go. Let's come in here and do a test. Nice. Yeah, super cool. So the idea here is so that the red walls, the long solid walls, nothing can pass through. But the dashed walls, your drone will blow up, but you can throw a meteor through it. So the idea is you can set up a game where you have to essentially throw the meteor through the dashed wall and then get it into a hoop or pass it to someone, that sort of thing. So that's kind of the idea behind this. I'm liking it. I think it looks good. All right, and it's going right, essentially right through the crosshairs. It's close enough that I'm pretty happy with it. All right, Will's floating. While Will is floating, I'm going to change the code to a horizontal dashed wall to check that. And we could actually do both of these at the same time. Like that. And just make this one longer though. Make the horizontal one 600. And these are going to both be centered over that. So here we go. Here goes Will Bennett. He's going to go away. And at least the floating virtual drone version. And now we're going to come back in, reload. Get ready for my test. Here comes the test. Nice. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Pretty good. All right. And with that, I only ended up going another 10 minutes. I am going to stop it now because I've got to get some lunch and get on to the rest part of my day to write some code. But with that, I just want to say thanks again to everyone. And we'll be back tomorrow. Rory's going to be with us, and we will get this to look more natural looking as we move it. Thanks again, and we'll see you tomorrow, everyone.